things, including an
Of
American
course.
family that you will have to take care of, be good to, etc. But her culture will stay American. And his answer to me was, no, no, no. She's a good Muslim. She will be the ethnicity that he was. And I think that though he said it, a lot of people believe that. Like if you are not a married Muslim convert and you're looking to get married, let me say three things to you. Number one, read this book. Read this book and
Read the
stand
book.
on your feet as a Muslim woman. Get
Mm.
community, get stuff to do. If you don't have anything to do, join a digital community. Come on over to Rabota. You can volunteer. We have jobs available. In fact, right now we have lots of volunteer opportunities. Get yourself busy in a Muslim community. And number two is I want you to understand. I forgot them. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, number three. I'll come back to number two because I remember number three. One of the things to look at with this young gentleman when he comes, or younger, older gentleman who comes to ask for your hand in marriage. Oh, I remembered number two. Make sure he understands that you are you. That's why I said read module 1 at least. Know who you are.
Mm.
So when he's asking you questions, you can answer them honestly about who you are. I once had a gentleman ask me for help to find him a wife. He had twin children and he wanted someone to help and he wanted a convert. And I said, why do you want to marry a convert? And he said, because American
Mm.
culture is really positive about stepchildren. I really liked that answer. I thought that was a healthy
Fair enough.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, okay, mashallah. So I don't do matchmaking, by the way, so nobody contact me about that. I don't do it. But in
No.
this case, it was a special favor somebody had asked me. And so I asked a few more questions. And I got to question 3 or 4. And I said, well, I just want you to, as we close this conversation, I just want you to know that just as she comes with the culture of being a positive stepmother, she will also come with other American cultural things, including an
Of
American
course.
family that you will have to take care of, be good to, etc. But her culture will stay American. And his answer to me was, no, no, no. She's a good Muslim. She will be the ethnicity that he was. And I think that though he said it, a lot of people believe that. And so be
Yes.
very careful that when you're talking to this person, that they are really aware that you are you. And you want to grow. You're not
Mm.
staying stuck where you are. You'll grow and change. But you are English American. You're from New Zealand. You are Australian. You are whoever you are. You're Mexican. You're Puerto Rican. You're wherever you are from in the world, whatever your ethnicity is, wherever you happen to be from, whoever you are, that's who you are. And so you're bringing that into the marriage. And he's also bringing his culture. So you want to recognize that and see that that is a new culture you're going to have to deal with. He's also not coming in with necessarily the expectations that you have. So we need to talk about those things.
Mm.
And the third thing is, I always tell women to ask these men or to take a look at these men about 2 things. One is, how do they talk about and treat their mother? Because that's how they'll
Mm.
talk about and treat you. And 2, don't marry a stingy man. Do not marry a stingy man. Men who are stingy with money are stingy with emotion, stingy with time, stingy with everything. So try to investigate
SubhanAllah.
that stinginess. That's my
Mm.
advice.
This is golden advice, mashallah. And the bit about knowing yourself and bringing in our own cultures.
Mm.
Perhaps you've noticed this as well, but and perhaps as sisters especially. I don't know that many brothers to know if it's true for the male converts as well, but the tendency to want to chuck off our own culture, the
Mm.
culture of our birth families, and adopt a foreign culture, what is essentially a foreign culture,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that that is more Islamic. So, having
Mm-hmm.
taken Shahada, you suddenly see the girls wearing, dishdasha or shalwar kameez or, whatever, if they've gotten married, whatever is the cultural dress of their husbands' families. They've stopped eating sandwiches and chips for lunch and they're having,
Rice.
dal and rice. And yes, exactly. And And it's almost as though, you know, we're expected to mold ourselves into a new cultural identity. And I think this can
Mhm.
actually be so confusing for somebody who's new, because not only are we having to learn to pray and to read the Quran and to read Arabic and so on, but we have to learn maybe a third language now,
Mhm.
and a whole other way of doing things, and a whole other, you know, language around when do you serve the tea, when do you serve the coffee, when do you serve the sweets, and so on. And it's discombobulating at best. You know, and I think
Yeah.
knowing ourselves, you know, Islam didn't
Mm.
come to replace everything.
Mhm. Yeah, you know, I really love cultures. I mean, I love them. I love traveling. I love to meet people of different cultures. I love to know, how do you serve coffee and what does the coffee taste like in Somalia, and how do you serve coffee? What does the
Mm,
coffee taste like in Turkey, Syria, all these places. But loving culture and having fun experiencing culture is different than struggling to be a different culture.
mm,
And
mm,
especially it gets confusing because there is a Muslim culture, and not Muslim, let me call it Islamic. So Muslim cultures are many and super fun.
yeah.
Yay, let's learn about them. But Islamic culture is real. There are parts of every Muslim culture that are Islamic, for example, as opposed to
Mm,
Muslim. And those are the things that are rooted in fiqh. So when a new convert comes to Islam and says, "Oh, I have to wear hijab," well, she doesn't have from her own culture hijab examples. So she looks
mm,
around in the culture that around her and might choose some of those. So my recommendation is just be easy on yourself. um, Note that what part of things are culture, and culture can be beautiful. Like, I don't, in the 90s, people are all like, culture, we don't want Islamic culture. Actually, you can't live a religion without culture. So, like, culture is part of how we live our faith. And so, I
mm,
invite converts to begin your own home culture. Begin your culture, even if you live alone in your apartment. What is your morning routine? What's your culture? What are the fabrics you like to wear? What are the styles that you like to wear that fit the Islamic uh, foundational ideas and rules, but also help you express who you are and how you are walking on this journey of yours to reach to reach Allah, to reach relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to reach God's
mm,
pleasure, to really, the companions at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were those that some of the books say they aslamu, they became Muslim. And there were others that they said they aslamu, they became Muslim, or hasana islamuhu, and they made their Islam good. So on the road of making our Islam good, we really want to, I think it's fun to note culture while at the same time growing from a space and place of knowledge and knowledge of the self.
mm.